Even though Blackmore's guitar style is way more complex than just pentatonics, it is an important aspect of his playing. So if you want to learn his early 70s made in Japan era licks and lead work, you really need to get the minor pentatonic scale under your fingers. In this 3-part mini-series, I will focus on 3 positions of the minor pentatonic scale in the key of A. I'm not going through all 5 positions because Blackmore mostly played these 3. Most of his signature licks are from these positions, so I will focus on these. Also, I will not break down the licks note by note because you already saw the tab and see me play them in the beginning of the video. But I will discuss a few key things to know about these licks and how to learn them. Also, if you want to learn these licks or any other Blackmore licks in more details or differently how I teach them in these videos, feel free to contact me on this email address to talk about Skype or Zoom lessons. I'm available for them, and in fact these lessons or this mini-series was inspired by a couple of Skype lessons I did for a friend. Other than that, the PDF and guitar format tab is available over at my Patreon page. Thank you for thinking about supporting the channel. To start a lesson, first I will play the basic plain A minor pentatonic scale. Then I will play it again, adding a couple of notes that Blackmore usually uses. In my opinion, the most important thing to talk about is picking, because everyone who's learning to play the guitar is focusing on their fretting hand, what to play on the guitar neck. But picking is just as important. Granted, it's not as sexy at first, but you really need to get your picking in order. You will thank me later. There are 2 picking strategies I would like to bring to your attention. Preferably, you should learn both and use them where they are appropriate or more comfortable. I will give you some guidance about that too, but you will find out for yourself which is more comfortable for you. The first one is pure alternate picking, which means you're picking down, up, down, up, down, up. Doesn't matter what's happening with your fretting hand. If you're on the same string, down, up, down, up. If you're changing strings, down, up, down, up. So the first lick with alternate picking sounds like this. I hope you noticed that it starts with a quasi-arpeggio, so playing 3 strings after each other, or 1 note on 3 different strings after each other. And even then, I'm sticking to my down, up, down. So the first string is gonna be down, up, down. And then I'm sticking to alternate picking. Alternate picking is great because it gives you a nice even sound throughout your phrases. Because you're always going up and down, the attack of the pick will be very similar or the same on all notes, and this will give you again an even sound. On the other hand, the other picking strategy is when sweep picking and economy picking together, I'm kind of mashing those up. The point of that is basically when if you are talking about sweep picking, when you're playing like an arpeggio, say this beginning phrase, instead of doing the down up down, you would play 3 downstrokes, except you're not separating it to 3 downstrokes, but just 1 continuous downward sweeping motion. This is why it's called sweep. So you're not playing down up down, you're not playing down down down, but you're going through. But I'm not a sweeping master by any means, which I think you can hear, but I hope my moderately proficient technique demonstrates that there's a difference between sweeping through with one continuous motion and breaking it into 3 down strokes. This might come in handy if you're playing really fast. This also might come in handy with one of the last licks when you have this 4-string A minor arpeggio. So this is not as fast. You would probably be able to do it with alternate picking. This would be alternate picking version, but I usually come back to sweeping. So I'm doing a downstroke and 3 upstrokes. So think about how you approach these licks when you're going up or ascending, or you're descending, coming down. The other really important thing I would like to talk about in the beginning lick is the note separation on the 5th string. So you're not playing the Chuck Berry lick. That's not it. It's 3 separate notes. See how these 2 notes do not ring together? It's because I'm rocking my finger. So when I'm on the G string, I'm using my ring finger, and then I go up to the B string, and then I put my index finger down such a way that it mutes the E string. See, you can't hear this. If you were to pick this string but you're not picking it yet, you would only hear this sound, not this. And this is the sound or the note you wanna hear. The 2nd string is what you wanna pick. And when you're going up to the 1st string and again rocking it like this, I hope you can see it on the screen or on the video. I'm rocking it in such a manner that now I'm only playing 5 on the E string and I'm muting the 2nd string. I'm obviously not picking the 2nd string, but because I just picked it right before I went to the A string, it would ring out if I wouldn't raise my finger. But if I raise my finger totally, it might come up as an open B sound. So you wanna keep just a really tiny contact with the strings, so you hear. The other thing is Blackmore uses his pinky a lot, but he might not necessarily use his pinky in these runs. But I advise you to do so. This is how most people play it. But why not work out your pinky, which you'll need a lot in later Blackmore songs, solos, or later style of Blackmore. There is actually a 3rd picking strategy Blackmore uses, and this is actually somewhat of a secret sauce on his licks, because many times he just uses upstrokes. So instead of going full alternate picking on a phrase like this, he many times just does almost all upstrokes. I hope you can hear how much more Blackmore-ish or Blackmorean it sounds when you're just picking with upstrokes. So this is one of his signature moves, a key ingredient of his sound, and I would like you to experiment with these 2. Use all 3 picking strategies. Blackmore sometimes sweeps, in many cases he alternate picks, and in many cases he plays with upstrokes. So you'll have to listen to a lot of Deep Purple songs, and you'll have to experiment when playing Blackmore licks and when you're playing the pentatonic coming up with your own licks. You'll have to try out a few different picking approaches and listen which sounds more like the record or what you remember in your head. We are not done with picking yet, because as I said, in the 2nd category I kind of mashed up economy picking with sweep picking, because there's a lot common with those 2. But economy picking is basically proceeding to the next string with the last motion on the previous string. So if you're going up or ascending and you finish on a string with a downstroke, you would proceed with a downstroke instead of changing to an upstroke like you would with alternate picking. So you're not alternate picking, you're sweeping down. And this is why I said economic picking and sweeping is very close together. They are optimal for meshing up together. And sometimes I use this. I'm not sure if Blackmore uses that, but I use this when I play the beginning of the third lick. You probably can't see it, from the distance on the camera. But I start this phrase with downstroke, the C note, 5 on the G string, and then I come up with the D7 on the G string with an upstroke, and then I'm pulling it off back to the C, and when I go down to the A note, 5 on the D string, it's gonna be an upstroke again. So it's gonna be a continuous motion work. Now you can turn it upside down or inside out basically, and you can do it reversely, because you can pick it again with the downstroke. The starting is the same. First note C, 5 on G string, downstroke, and then upstroke on the D7 on the G string. And because of the pull off, you have enough time to switch your pick and come with a downstroke on the 5th of the, or the 7th of the 4th string, so A note, and then you would proceed back to your starting point C with a downstroke. So instead of the sweeping motion or the economic picking being here, it's basically here. This is again something to keep in mind. I think these sort of flourishes or thrills that Blackmore often does is a great application for economic picking or sweeping just between two strings. Now, talking about these flourishes or triplets, I would like to point out that when he does this, or more often than not, in the 70s at least, but I think later too, he plays it with just two fingers, usually the index and the ring finger. You can of course add your pinky, but it won't sound as strong or as heavy. You could add the middle finger instead of and in the beginning it does help you speed the licks up, so you might give it a shot, but ultimately it would be beneficial to learn just play these licks with just the two fingers, as Blackmore often does. But even though these lessons are analyzing and copying Blackmore style, I'm not encouraging anyone to throw away their own style to be a Blackmore copy. So if you're here just to understand what Blackmore does and then integrate it in your playing to any degree you feel comfortable with, that's totally fine. You don't have to copy everything and you don't have to play everything how Blackmore does it, but it might be just a nice way of refreshing your playing or finding your own sound. And this is why I talked about different picking strategies and different things how to approach these licks, because as I just said, you can take as much as you want and run with it. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. There's gonna be two more, so stay tuned.